Welcome to this morning. Thank you for being here and spending the day with us. This is the Center for Religion and Civic Culture's Reimagining Religion Conference. Our project on religious competition and creative innovation is about uncovering what the leading edge of groups were doing to respond to this period of flux. How are groups organizing? How are they changing? What new forms of meaning, community, ritual, and self-transcendence are being created now as a response to this period? We've laid out 10 characteristics of what we think all of our groups have in common. They are authentic, embedded, pollinating, embodied, activated, grounded in a sense of empathy, networked, enfranchised, and they are adaptive. And that is what we call reimagined communities. We're committed to understanding religion in Los Angeles because it's the most religiously diverse experiment in all of human history.
Into this mix of Pentecostal storefront churches, Mexican botanicas, strip mall mosques, enter Buddhist meditation centers.
Tradition matters a lot, and we at Against the Stream feel like we're really teaching core Buddhist philosophy. And at the same time, we're making it relevant.
In a lot of ways, mindfulness is now individualistic and therapeutic. It's really just a pure secular usage of mindfulness. But if it reduces the suffering of people in the world, is that really a bad thing?
One of the raps against the nuns, people who are disaffiliating, is that they're going to lose interest in the things that we generally associate with religious institutions. The formation of community, the search for identity, the creation of meaning. But one of the most interesting things that we found is that far from jettisoning these important civic qualities, they in fact are nurturing them in new and very imaginative ways.
A lot of the people in Assembly, they have never experienced religion. They come from families where there was no religion. And then there's a whole lot of ex-Catholics, a lot of ex-Mormons, a lot of Jewish people that were raised secular, and then there's a smattering of people who still believe in God but don't feel at home in their church.
I see in my community that service is what matters.
Groups like Dignity and Power now have been blending a variety of spiritual practices to impart meaning, heal grief and trauma, combat burnout, and encourage what they call transformational justice.
Spirit has always been a part of Black resistance, right? It's always been a part of how we've thought through and figured out how to respond to the traumas that are constantly impacting our bodies.
Black Lives Matter is a value statement.
BLM has kind of revived a lot of clergy that's been sitting on their behinds because they are attracting attention that the Black church for a long time has not had. Our church is a traditional Christian church. As the pastor and being female and being Black, it speaks to a voice that's not often heard.
People were searching for a way to talk about their faith free from the political and social baggage that comes with being called an evangelical.
We came from a Pentecostal storefront paradigm and were introduced into mainline evangelicalism. And I was introduced to a language in which I was the poor, the marginalized, the disenfranchised, and it was a shock. Because all my life, I just saw the Spirit of God moving in such dynamic ways, and I never saw myself as a minority.
If there is a possible reimagining of evangelicalism, is what does it mean to live together in collaboration with all the peoples in a place, to work together for the common good of this particular place.
There is an opposite side to pretty much everything we've talked about today, and those are the groups that are either unwilling or unable to adapt what they're doing, thus push their boundaries in order to seize new opportunities and challenges that they encounter. But in reality, there will always be a tension between the impulse to codify, standardize, and otherwise maintain the status quo, and the openness to adapt and innovate in response to changing social and cultural environments.
The fact that religious and non-religious people could speak the same language, or at least could understand each other, is what I think we're talking about here. We're talking about how we envision new ways to create and identify a way forward for all of us.